Hey everybody, my name's Taylor Davis. I just wanted to give an update. I received a flyer in the mail today from Granite School District. I'm sure many of you have or will be getting this flyer. And it's making a lot of claims against our inquiry into looking into splitting the district. Like I've said a million times, we're wondering whether splitting the district would make sense. And I've talked before in some other videos about the first step of that is a feasibility study. And the reason we want to know that is because that answers a lot of the quantitative data questions you'd have about taxes and buildings and enrollment and how a school district is funded. What concerns me a little bit about this flyer that I got is I've actually reached out to the district and asked them for the data on the split. There's been claims that it doesn't make sense for our area. Whenever I ask for the data, I get a really kind of lightweight, shallow, fluffy answer. I never get the real data. And so this flyer is more of the same. Remember that your tax dollars paid to send this flyer out. Sending out mailers is not a cheap thing. But I wanted to just talk about some of the things it talks about in here. A lot of the claims about a big district versus a small district is the economies of scale. And but what you'll find in the state of Utah, there's 43 school districts. All different sizes. I'm looking down because I have these pages with these districts. I mean, they're as small as Daggett with 177 kids, up to Alpine, which is splitting, but they still haven't technically split yet, with 84,000 kids. When you start digging into administrative costs and teacher pay and cost per student and size of classroom, what you'll find is they're all over the place. I mean, just right off the bat, Salt Lake School District pays its teachers $84,000. Granite pays its teachers $74,000. Well, Salt Lake School District's a small district that has 18,000 kids, and Granite has 56,000. So if everything was down to economies of scale and size of district, and that made everything better, then how is Salt Lake School District paying their teachers $10,000 more a year with only 18,000 students? Well, the details are really important. How are they taxing? What is the property tax like? How many pupils are in the area versus non-pupils? These are a lot of the questions we want answered with the feasibility study. And I've told Ben Horsley, the superintendent, and I've told anyone I talk to, if it doesn't make sense for our area, let's not do it. But we want to know through the data whether we can support ourselves. We can get more representation. We can have a vote, a say in these big decisions. I don't disagree with the flyer that says declining enrollment is a real thing. We all know that. People have small families. People don't have kids. Our area is old. The houses are expensive. We don't deny that. But we want to know when a school does have to close, or we're deciding how big classes are, or whether to rebuild a building, we'd like more say in that. And that's not just a conversation. The way democracy works is a vote. The vote is important. That's when compromises are made. And so when we all just sit around and we listen to each other, that's not how it works. When you go up to the legislature, they discuss, they argue, you might say, and they make compromises, because if you can't get the vote, you can't get your thing passed. The problem we have in our area is our representative covers all 16 schools. And so when it comes down to these questions, I've sat in some of these meetings and heard some of the concepts for closures, and I don't agree with them at all. But someone next to me does, and we're all talking to the same representative. And so when I get a flyer like this with some of these claims about how both school districts would need to raise their property taxes to pay for that, I've studied the four feasibility studies that have been done in the state of Utah, which is 3 for Alpine School District and the one in Canyons. There's never been a single feasibility study that shows that both areas' property taxes go up. So I see some of these claims and they have no data to back them up. And what I hope you'll do is keep an open mind about all this, because Granite clearly really doesn't want this feasibility study to happen. And as a taxpayer, that over 50% of my taxes go to schools, to Granite, that concerns me when they're paying to try to dissuade people from getting a feasibility study. I've always said, if it doesn't make sense for our area, Granite should be the first one for us to want to get a feasibility study, because it would prove their point. And so I'd say keep an open mind. Let's keep looking at it. Hopefully our cities will decide that the amount of money we spend, all our state income tax, and over 50% of our property tax is worth an inquiry, is worth an audit. And I hope they value self-representation enough to be willing to move forward with that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask through Instagram or whatever the medium is. You can always reach out to our group and we'll answer our questions. But keep an open mind, because many of these claims on this flyer are very, very shallow at best. And a lot of questions come up. And I've actually emailed the superintendent asking him for the data behind these claims. And last time I asked him, he didn't really give me a good response. And I've sent it again. And I'll keep you updated on what we find out. So thanks, everybody. Feel free to ask any questions. We live in a great area, and it's fun to be a part of this. So thanks.